Morning, my name is Josh from Cyclones Oz and welcome to your forecast update for Australia for February 29th, 2024. Upcoming in today's video, we're going to be taking a look at some rainfall that's expected to materialise from a tropical low that's making passage through the Northern Territory and into Western Australia. And then we'll jump down to southeast Queensland and northern New South Wales, where we've got a couple of strong thunderstorms possible over the next 2 or 3 days. And then we'll go up further north into far northern Queensland, where heavy rainfall is forecast over the next week. So you can see across Western Australia and the Northern Territory, there is quite a lot of rainfall starting to move through the area now, and that's expected to keep itself up until definitely into this weekend, when we're going to be seeing some very heavy rainfall start to materialise across Western Australia, and it will be statewide rainfall as well from Friday evening into Saturday and Sunday. We'll be seeing rain as far south as Perth and Albany, and we could be seeing some very decent totals as well south around Albany and Perth. We could be seeing up to 50 millimetres fall. You can see now in the forecast graphic, we've got that slow-moving and deepening tropical low through the Northern Territory, and it's going to be moving into Western Australia. It'll probably cross the border somewhere around Balgo Hill, north of Warburton or so forth, and that's going to be enhancing storm activity and rainfall through large areas of Western Australia and the Northern Territory, and this will extend into South Australia from early next week. And you can see as we get a detailed look at the forecast right now, there's not too much in the way of rainfall occurring right now, but there is that low pressure area, which you can see on the wind line. So it's moving through and driving a lot of moisture now through the northern parts of the Northern Territory, and that's only going to increase from this evening. These thunderstorms are mostly pulse thunderstorms right now. A couple of them are sustaining themselves for about 6 to 12 hours, especially around the centre of it, but most of them are pulse thunderstorms. This is just a bunch of moisture and unsettled air moving through the Northern Territory and Western Australia, which is promoting these strong thunderstorms right now. And as you can see, they really fire up quite dramatically tonight, and they keep themselves together until about Friday morning, when they start to fire up again through Friday. And you can see as this tropical low becomes sort of a trough that extends down the western coast of Australia, which is going to be driving warmer than average conditions for a lot of the West Australian towns and cities as well over Friday and Saturday. You can see as this heads towards Perth and so forth, it drives a lot of thunderstorm activity through Western Australia, and the thunderstorm activity also keeps itself up for the Northern Territory. We'll be seeing rainfall totals over the next 3 days approaching 100 millimetres for a lot of locations. Once again, from pulse thunderstorms, the rainfall is rather unpredictable. We don't exactly know what locations are going to pick up exactly what rainfall. It's a very difficult forecast to make in terms of specifics for rainfall accumulation and also location, but right now we can see widespread totals above 50 to 100 millimetres are very much possible over the next 3 days, and then over the next 5 days you're looking at 100 to 150 millimetres for some areas, and also a lot of rainfall down into the southern parts of Western Australia as well, especially through the wheat belt and parts of the lower west. The Access G3 model has a bit of a different scenario in terms of rainfall accumulation, but it's very similar in terms of rainfall location. You can see as this low pressure system moves through and the troughs extend out of it, the monsoon really enhances deeper into Western Australia, a lot of rainfall is expected, and this rainfall will be rather widespread by the looks of things. We're seeing rainfall totals approaching 2 to 300 millimetres for the central parts of Western Australia into the Great Sandy Desert, I believe that's north of Warburton near, I think it's called Giles. You can see a lot of rainfall as well expected across parts of the goldfields and also into the northern parts of the wheat belt, and by a lot I mean 25 to 50 millimetres, but once again there will be places that pick up significantly more, and there'll be places that pick up absolutely nothing. You can see Perth itself expecting a helping handful of rainfall, up to 80 millimetres expected for the Perth metro area. Gee, I wish that would materialise. I don't think it will in all of its 80 millimetres, but 80 millimetres would be lovely. And you can see deeper into the goldfields as well, north of Lake King, up to 150 millimetres is forecast. And once again, under the right thunderstorm from Saturday night into Sunday and Monday, there are places that will pick up to 100 millimetres, especially if they get 2 or 3 nights of consecutive thunderstorms, because these storms, they will be strong. There will be severe thunderstorms embedded in these lines. It's going to be a very interesting night to be watching the satellite, that's for sure. And you can see from Saturday night they really start to materialise around Perth before you get that really strong, what could be a squall line at this point on Sunday morning move through. It's been years since we've had a thunderstorm set up like this. And if we were to go over to see convective available potential energy, which I know means nothing to the layman viewer, we've got values that are about 10 to 15 times higher than what they would be for a traditional thunderstorm event around Perth. Typically typically 100 joules per kilojoule of, I believe, air is the unit of measurement here. Typically when you're seeing 100 values here, which would be in the very light blue, that's enough to spark a thunderstorm event in Perth, but you're seeing yellows and oranges here, and now you're talking values 15 times more favourable for thunderstorm activity. We're going to have a whale of a night Sunday or Saturday night into Sunday morning, and I am very, very excited for it, that's for sure. Once again, exercise caution on the roads. I know Perth had a little bit of rain last weekend, but it's not enough to really wash the oil out of the roads. So any rainfall that falls on Perth, it's going to make roads 10 times slipperier than what they will be on the wettest of winter days. So make sure that you're exercising caution while driving around and exercising caution in the face of these thunderstorms. Now moving down to New South Wales and southeastern Queensland, we've got a cold front moving through right now, and you can see on this rainfall forecast there'll be a lot of thunderstorm activity firing up tonight into Friday night and into Saturday night as well. The thunderstorms will move further north with every passing night, but still this moderate front will cross the coast around Victoria Thursday morning. As it moves further northeast, it will promote storm activity Friday evening into New South Wales and Sydney, and then further up the coast into Brisbane and the southern parts of Queensland, and these storms could be severe as well. There is the risk of some strong thunderstorms here. We could be seeing some severe thunderstorm warnings, that's for sure. And I mean, while we're looking at things, convective available potential energy, if we go to Friday night around Sydney and so forth, where we're expecting some very strong severe thunderstorms in some areas, we've got Cape values not that much higher. They're only about twice as high as what they are in Western Australia. Now, this is very concerning in the sense of Perth is going to be seeing some very strong thunderstorms from this, but we have shifted over east right now. Let's take a look at the rainfall forecast. So starting things off right now, you can see a couple of thunderstorms starting to fire up around Victoria and so forth. We can check that with the satellite imagery right now, with the passage of this front, which is right here, and the trough line that's behind it that's being dragged forward by this front. You can already see some patchy clouds starting to develop around Mildura and Griffith, and that is going to be promoting that thunderstorm activity from this evening. I don't think tonight's going to be too significant in terms of thunderstorm activity, just one or two pulse thunderstorms firing up here and there, but it will be Friday night where we see some stronger thunderstorms, especially further towards the north. But Saturday is going to be the go day when we see this trough extend out of the low pressure system, which will be over in the Tasman Sea and then across New South Wales. And you can already see some strong thunderstorms starting to fire up from Saturday afternoon into Saturday evening. About 4 or 5 p.m. looks like peak time, and it is definitely going to be anywhere north of Newcastle that gets belted by these strong thunderstorms. These will likely be severe thunderstorms, damaging winds, heavy rainfall. If they're supercells, they will have large, maybe even giant hailstones as well. It looks like the last really good run of thunderstorm activity for this year, this wet season, so enjoy it while it lasts. But for sure, these thunderstorms do look rather gnarly. So if you live between a line of Sydney to Orange and then up towards Lightning Ridge or Moree, and then even into Queensland as well, southern Queensland up to around Gympie and Roma, then there is a good chance that your area is going to receive thunderstorms from Friday night into Saturday night as well. And these thunderstorms strengthen Saturday evening into Saturday night and then move into southern Queensland as well. They don't really get too far up the coast. It's going to be Sunday again when they really fire up, associated with this trough that's going to be moving through northern New South Wales and southeastern Queensland. And this is where we see some very strong thunderstorms again from Sunday morning. And it looks like they do miss the Brisbane metro area, but they might clip the Gold Coast. A lot of rainfall is certainly possible over the next 5 days outside of, say, Coffs Harbour and Grafton, but it looks like Brisbane definitely does miss out on it. Brisbane itself expecting, I believe, 10 to 15 millimetres or so on Sunday, but again, up to 50 millimetres is possible from these thunderstorm events as you get into the northeastern quadrant of New South Wales. It's going to be a nice time for thunderstorm activity, that's for sure. Very excited to see what these storms can do. It just looks like we're moving into an all-round rather stormy picture for the nation. I believe after Sunday they really do stretch out. Maybe Monday you might get some stronger storms firing further up the coast around Gympie and Bundaberg and up towards Rockhampton, but they really pull out of New South Wales at this point, and they don't look like they're going to be severe warned at this time either. And then by Tuesday they're pretty much fully gone, and then it looks like we've got an onshore flow, which we're going to get to in the next part of this video, really starting to take control around the Gympie Bundaberg sort of area. And this is a brand new forecast from the Eastern Rift as well, so this is quite interesting. I didn't actually see this when I was researching the video, but you can see a lot of rainfall expected over the Coral Sea. Still waiting for this next tropical cyclone to move through, by the way, and we can check that right now with wind accumulation throughout the Coral Sea. Nothing expected over the next 10 days, nothing expected across Western Australia either. They are desperate for cyclone activity. Once again, no cyclone activity this year so far for Western Australia. That is very, very strange indeed. And finally, we're going to be looking at some far northern Queensland heavy rainfall. You can see on the rainfall forecast graphic right now a lot of onshore flow activity where we've got those strong winds moving ashore throughout the Coral Sea, averaging 20 to 40 kilometres an hour. That's going to be driving some heavy rainfall over the next 10 days. We're going to be seeing places pick up to 300 millimetres. Once again, the rainfall will be rather sporadic and unpredictable, especially across the Cape York Peninsula and the further up you get. But there will be some communities that get flooded out over the next 3 days, and then in about a week's time when the rainfall picks up again. From the strengthening low pressure system trough that will be moving through the Coral Sea, and that will drive plenty of moisture ashore into far northern Queensland early next week, and then also into later next week as well, which will likely result in heavier than average rainfall accumulations. We are talking the regular 20 millimetres a day becomes 50 millimetres a day for a couple of days sustained. And once again, if we were to take a look at the rainfall forecast here for far northern Queensland, we're starting things off with the eastern relief here, but both the eastern relief, the GFS and the Access G3, are very similar in terms of how much rainfall they're expecting. You can already see a trough line extending out of Weipa right now on the northern parts of the Cape York Peninsula, and you can see it. It's sort of this just big patch of rainfall or dry air that's moving through these two rainfall blobs here, and that extends over towards Vanuatu. And you can see from this afternoon, we're seeing quite a lot of rainfall driven ashore around Cairns up towards the Daintree as well, and a lot of the Cape York Peninsula over the next 24 hours is at risk of receiving up to 50 millimetres. There'll be places around Cairns down towards Bullenden Curb, Babinda, so forth, and then up towards the Daintree around Mossman and up, maybe even up towards Cooktown and Hopevale that might receive 50 to 100 millimetres today. They've had some significant rainfall accumulations over the past week, and if you do live up there, then please tell me how much rainfall your rain gauge has picked up over the past week. I'd be very interested to know. Saturday and Sunday looks like the typical wet season pattern where you could be seeing 50 to 80 millimetres fall across parts of the Cape York Peninsula. This extends into Sunday, Monday and Tuesday. When it really starts to pick up again on Tuesday, you can see these onshore winds really start to drive quite a bit of rainfall ashore from Tuesday evening. And I know the model resolution really drops off by Wednesday, but as we start to play this through, you can see it's just going to be bands of showers moving ashore in a very wet picture by the looks of things, with a monsoon trough really extending across the northern parts of the Northern Territory around Arnhem Land, and then into the Cape York area, and then south of Port Moresby on Papua New Guinea. You can see from Wednesday and Thursday a lot of rainfall in the Coral Sea, and this is going to drive rainfall accumulations up later next week from Wednesday onwards. And once again, across the northern extremities of the Cape York Peninsula, north of Arakan, you're looking at rainfall accumulations of at least 50 to 100 millimetres for a lot of areas, and then 150 to 200 millimetres for some areas as well, especially the further north you get. And then there'll be places around Cairns and outside of Lucinda and Innisfail, especially in the mountainous areas. I know the forecast models don't generally get these rainfall forecasts right, especially over the next 10 days, but I would say there will be places picking up to 300 millimetres over the next 10 days between Ingham and Cairns, and then up towards Port Douglas and Mosman as well. You can see up to 150 or 200 millimetres on the forecast. Quite a lot of rainfall there. And once again, this will likely all happen on 1 or 2 days in the period, because it will be that sporadic rainfall that can be very hit and miss. So the risk of moderate flooding is certainly there for parts of far northern Queensland, and it'd be advised to take as much caution as possible up here. Anyways, that is all for this weather update. Thank you so much for your company this Thursday morning. I'd like to give a special shout out to the Cyclone Sol sponsors. Their names listed on screen right now. By the way, this is a beautiful photo of Bluff Knoll I took on November 23rd. If you'd like to see more of my favourite photos in my camera roll, then please let me know in the comment section down below, and also tell me what you thought of this new video style. I'm trying to switch to this. It's more sort of entertaining, more graphically based video style, and I do actually enjoy making this style, so I'm going to head on to making videos a little bit like this. And if you did enjoy them, then please do let me know in the comment section down below. Leave a like and subscribe, but that's all for me, and I'll catch you on the next storm. Goodbye.